Can you hear me? There we go. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Let's get it going. Welcome to another exciting episode of Rebel Days. Hey, can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Testing, testing. Can you hear me, Suave? Anybody? Can anybody hear me? All right. Well, this has been a long-awaited sessions. I think we've been trying to do this for centuries now. Since last year. I get it. Is this how this works? Look at this, dude. 2025. We're going to get fancy. All right, Suave. Whenever you're ready, let me know, man. Let's party. Brought out the cigars and everything for today. And that, because talk to me. There we
What's
go.
up?
Give me a little bit more. Give me another test.
What's up? What's up?
There we go. Bro, I feel like this is surreal, dog. This is a dream, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been. I think we first attempted this like last summer or early in the year.
Nah, it was like summer, bro, because it was hot outside. It was still hot, bro.
Wow. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of what's up, David? Of Sessions, the greatest house songs of all time. Songs, right? Songs. We're doing songs, right?
Many songs.
Yeah, we don't want to get crucified. we don't want to start no drama. Oh shit! Yeah, that was crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's like I mean, when we first tried to attempt this, I mean, we were both like dumbfounded because we had no clue what was going on. You know, we were troubleshooting everything possibly that we could think of. You know, rebooting, resetting, reconnecting, different phones, the whole nine. We tried to troubleshoot everything because we were thinking it was technical, right? Yeah. We thought there's something, and people were chiming in, you know, oh, dude, you know, try the Wi-Fi or try doing this or
yeah, bro. We had one hand up. We were jumping up and down, bro, trying to investigate, trying to I burned sage, trying to figure it out. We finally got it.
Yeah, I mean, so, and then it turns out that the problem had nothing to do with a technicality.
No.
It wasn't technical. It wasn't a technical issue. It wasn't a connection issue. It wasn't connectivity. It was nothing like that. It had nothing to do with wire or wireless, my phone, your phone. It had nothing to do with that. And we didn't find, or I didn't find out until I want to say after our last attempt, which was maybe a little over a month ago. Okay, our
sometime in
last attempt.
November, because December we're gonna
exactly.
November.
Right. So yeah, it was around that time. That's because we tried it again, and we tried it again. So by the third time we couldn't do it. Somebody hit me up saying, "Hey, maybe you're restricted," and I'm like, "What do you mean restricted?" "Well, maybe IG put a ban on you, and you don't realize it." I go, "Well, I don't think so, because I would have got notified. I would have said, hey, IG would send me a little message saying, just like on Facebook, right? Yeah. IG will send you a message saying, hey, for the next 30 days or whatever days, you can't do this." I never got that. So I told him, no, that can't be it. And then the guy told me, well, I forgot who it was, but then the guy told me, look, go deep into the settings. You have to go really deep into it. So he kind of showed me step by step. And sure enough, the issue was that IG, I guess I was a naughty boy. I posted a comment that IG didn't like, and yeah, they restricted me from going live. I could do everything else. I could post, I could comment, I could share videos, I could do everything except go live. That's the only thing. And when I looked deep into the settings, I saw it. And that's when I told you, and I said, shit, dude, I guess that was the deal, that was the deal. So when the restriction was lifted, I hit you up and I said, let's do a test run, and we did. And it worked out. It worked fine.
And then you got got another one again.
I got another one. That's right. I got another one in early December. I got another one. I'm like, what the fuck? I got another one. So I said, okay, let's just wait until January to do this.
Yes.
Because the one I got in December, that was lifted right around Christmas, or a little bit after, like a day or two after Christmas. And I didn't want to do it then because Christmas is just over and then everybody's getting ready for the New Year's and blah, 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 blah. So I said, well, look, let's just wait until after the New Year's, about a week or two after the New Year's, and then we'll do it. And sure enough, here we are.
Yeah, man.
Here we are. Finally, we get to do this.
My question to you is, did you ever find out what you posted that got you in trouble?
The first one, not a clue. Okay? Not a clue. The one I got in December, this one in December, I believe, what did I write? I think it was retarded. I wrote retarded, or was it faggot?
Be careful, bro. You're going to ban us right now. We're never going to finish the show. Did that motherfucker say the R word? Click. You're done.
Something along those lines. One of those two. And then that one, yeah. And then that one, I saw the notification. I said, a little message came up. I'm like, okay. That one I saw. The first one, I didn't see. The first one, either they didn't send it, or for some reason I didn't see it. But the last one in December I did see, and so now I said, now I had to be a really good boy, I had to be a good boy, because I want to make sure we get this shit done finally, But after tonight, I'm back to being fuck you, motherfucker.
R word here and R word there and F word here and F word there. You get one, you get one, you get one. I know
everybody gets that shit.
Everybody gets an R and F word. So nobody trip. What did it say?
Yeah.
DJ Heck just
passed
away here.
You know what? I heard about him throughout the years. I probably bumped into him here and there. I never knew him personally, but yeah, I guess he passed away well, at least it was announced that he passed away today.
Oh man.
I don't know if it was the day that he passed away, but today is when I guess people are saying that that he passed away.
All
Yeah,
respects, man.
from the Crooks, out here in the IE. I believe that's where he was from. And if you're from the IE, everybody knows the Crooks, or you know. But yeah, I like I said, I didn't know him personally, but yeah, I mean, it sucks.
Rest in peace, brother. We're all
It
going the
sucks.
same way.
It sucks. So again, for those that are tuning in, if you guys see me looking away, it's not because I'm being distracted by something else. It's because I have a monitor right here, so I could see people's questions and comments. And let me move this
And he literally
closer here.
did notes, man. He did notes, bro. Like, you guys saw the video. If you guys didn't see it, his hair was a mess, dude. He had a hoodie on. His beard was everywhere. He just looked like he had been working really, really hard to make sure he got the right songs in the right category for the greatest house songs of all time.
Right. I mean, and I don't want to say the word controversial, because it's not controversial. It's not. Okay. It's just that, and I understand when people say controversial, which we're going to get into, but it's not. It's not controversial.
No.
It's either you're in the know or you're not in the know. That's basically what it boils down to.
It goes to facts and preference. That's exactly what. Matter of fact, I was talking to a couple buddies of mine. Same thing. It's like one of the homies that DJs with Rebel Days. He's from Texas, from El Paso. A lot of the music that they like over there, we were kind of a little different about it right over here in Vegas. You know what I mean? Because we were like mirroring the LA scene and whatnot. So there was a lot of back and forth with that. So, it also depends on where you're growing up. For us, the song was monumental. It was inspiring. It was the greatest of all time, but it probably never made any list. You know what I mean? That was the underground style or whatever. So we're going to get a lot of that.
And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into why a lot of these songs, the majority of the people that follow Rebel Days, the grand majority of the people that are tuning in, may not be familiar with these songs. They're like, wait a minute, I don't know these songs. I'm a house guy. I've been doing this for 30, 40 years.
I'm a house head.
I'm
a house head. What are you playing?
Yeah, what is this? So I understand there's going to be a lot of that. I mean, how come Fire Alarm is not on this list? You know what I mean? I've been a house DJ since the 90s. I don't know none of these songs.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of that, and I understand that. And I'm going to explain why is that. Okay? Why is that? So I'm just trying to see, as people are logging in, we're going to slowly get into it. First, let me start off by saying the shirt that I'm wearing is from our very own Swanee.
Yeah.
Swanee, this is his merch. Yep. So if you guys want any info on the merch, he's got a bunch of stuff. DM me, and then I'll link you up. You could either reach out to me or reach out to Grease, and he'll link you up to
definitely, man.
Swan and get you the merch.
The gear is sick. The sayings are dope. The quality, not because it's the homie, because I tried to make some shirts too not so long ago. Whatever shirts he's using, they're really nice, man. They're really good. I'm here for the free giveaways. Damn it.
So if you want info on the merch, on Schwann's on merch, just
hit us up.
Just hit me up, send me a DM or send Grease a DM, and then we'll link you up. Also, before we get into this, my 2024 year-end mix is out on SoundCloud. If you want a link to that, also DM me. I'll shoot you guys the link so you guys could check it out, download it, the whole nine. It's up on my Facebook. I'll be posting it all week. I started doing that yesterday. Normally I do it like just before the year's over or the week after New Year's. But this time I'm a few weeks late, but better late than never. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, so yeah. So yeah, it's every year I do it. You know, I started. I think my first one was 2015. So it's basically the tracks that I like the most. Not want to say the most, but or should I say all the tracks that I like the most, because there's a shitload of tracks. But a lot of the tracks that I feel that I really like, that really killed the dance floor, I just put them on a mix and I just call it the year-end mix. So this is 2024 year-end mix. It's a little over 2 hours. Last year I did it and it was all techno, because I asked everybody on my social media, you guys want a tech house or a techno?
I don't know.
A techno mix. And it was overwhelmingly techno. So since I did techno last year, I'm doing a tech house this year. So
for your 10-year anniversary, which is next year's mix, are we getting finally a reggaeton?
I'm getting a reggaeton mashup with Bad Bunny.
Oh man.
So all right, so let's start getting into it. I think there's pretty cool enough people here. Okay, so let's start getting into it. So the reason why we're talking about what are the greatest house tracks of all time, it's not really because this is something that I wanted to say. Okay, the reason why we're doing this sessions in and touching on the topic of what are the greatest house tracks of all time is simply because my boy Grease here, he started posting these videos about this guy out in the UK. Don't know who he is, some random guy.
Just random guy.
And, yeah, he started posting these tracks, and right before he played the track, he would always ask, is this the greatest house track of all time? And you posted maybe about 3 or 4 of his videos.
Yeah.
You know, and every single record that he played is one of those records that is highly considered to be one of the greatest tracks of all time. But the reason why I wanted to make this session, to have this session, is because I was reading a lot of the comments that were being mentioned on your video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much what I just said earlier. I don't know these songs. What's this guy talking about? Oh, that's only in London, or what? You know what I mean? That's not our house, or whatever. Yeah. You know, all these things that because he was playing some amazing records. That I completely understand that the majority of the people tuning in, the majority of the people that follow Rebel Days, they don't have a clue about these songs. You know, earlier today, somebody mentioned on one of my posts, oh, we're getting for a fight tonight. You know what I mean? No,
dude.
It's not a fight. It's either you're in the know or you're not in the know.
Not even that. You can't say that because dude, fools are ready to fight over their music, dog. They're ready to fight over that shit.
If absolutely.
Duke is not on this list, we're fucking squabbling, bro. No, but the thing is, like, it's the understanding of like the area that we grew up, like the so many faces of house music throughout the years. Like everybody could be in unison to say, okay, Knuckles and Saunders and all them at the beginning, that was house, right? And then from there it starts deriving into different kinds of houses, right? Makes it to the UK, they start making their own house. Chicago's making their own, LA, New York, Miami, and depending on where you're growing, you're only listening to that kind of music. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're bringing the receipts of what counts, right? The receipts of what people actually going to bring up and say, hey, well, they said this, and this. This is why it's the greatest house song of all time, or whatnot. You know what I mean? So
yes, and we're definitely going to get into that right now. So before we get into how everything happened, I just want to make one thing absolutely clear, that this is not Suave's greatest list. This is not my list. I did not come up with this list. Okay, so I don't want to hear, oh, this is Suave's, that's just Suave's choice. No, this is not, I did not come up with this list. Okay, I was not asked. I'm a complete nobody, you know what I mean? So Mix Mag and DJ Times, I'm a complete nobody. They're not going to ask me shit. Okay, so this is not. I really want people to understand that this is not DJ Suave's top 10 or top whatever. This is not DJ Suave's
No.
favorite track. No, I'm just basically telling you what happened. Okay, I'm basically telling you what are these songs that our people are saying, and we're gonna get to who these people are and how they came up with this list. Okay. Um, because even even Tony B, he commented like, according to who, like already getting his panties all in the bunch. Nobody asked me shit. I'm Tony B. Nobody asked me nothing.
Tony's ready to come back, dude. Watch
Like,
out, man.
according to who? Like, you know. Sorry, Tony, they didn't ask me either. Yeah. So basically, so this is the whole thing here. Okay, I want to say it was during the Winter Music Conference, okay, which is in Miami, the WMC. This was, I want to say, 2013 maybe, or 2014, or early 2014, because I know Frankie Knuckles was asked, and he passed away in 2014. It was in March. He passed away in March, if I'm not mistaken. So this was either the Winter Music Conference in 2013, but I want to say it was the Winter Music Conference in 2014. Because even if Frankie passed away at the end of March, the Winter Music Conference already had passed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the Winter Conference is in early March. But anyway, so there's a publication. Everybody is familiar with DJ Times, and also a magazine called Mix Mag. There was another magazine that's similar to Mix Mag called Music, but they're no longer around. Mix Mag is still around, I believe. But DJ Times and Mix Mag, I guess they did a collaboration, and they wanted to come up with what are the greatest house tracks of all time. Okay, so basically what they did, they asked over 100 people. Okay, and the people that they asked, let me bring up here, like you said, I got receipts. The people that they've asked obviously DJs and producers. They asked people that ran record labels. They asked people that ran clubs. They asked PR people, AR people. They asked, like I said, and people from all over the world. And obviously, these are people that have been in the game since pretty much day one. And some of the people that they've asked, people like Little Louis Vega, CJ McIntosh, David Morales, Junior Vasquez, Gladys Pizarro, she runs Strictly Rhythm Records, Pete Tong, Pepe, the owner of Spice Ibiza, Eric Murillo, Frankie Knuckles, Judy Weinstein, and Josh Wink, Rachel Kane from Trax Records out of Chicago, Mark Moore, Satoshi Tomei, Danny Tenegula. Like I said, it was over 100 people. Over 100 people, they were asked to give their, I think it was top 20. It could have been top 10, or it could have been top 20, but they give them the list. They said, turn in your list of what you believe are the greatest house tracks of all time. So what they did is they got everybody's list, and they just took account of these tracks that came up more than once. So for example, if a track came up, if out of, let's say, 200 people, if somebody mentioned the same track, let's say if 150 people said the same track, so that's 150 times that the same track popped up out of that group. So they put that one apart. And if another track was mentioned 50 times, they put that apart, and another. So that's how they separate. That's how they started grabbing these songs. Okay, on the amount of times these songs were being mentioned. So once they calculated, they didn't say 1, 2, or 3. Okay, and because that's an impossibility. And this is not something that is written in stone that, okay, this right here is the number one song. This is the number two song. No, that's never going to happen. They cannot say that this is the number one song, the number one house song of all time. They'll never say that. Nobody will ever say that. The only thing they can do is what these guys did, is that out of all the house songs there is, these are the ones that have been mentioned the most. Mm-hmm. And that is as close as they're going to get. Okay? That's as close as they're going to get. So that's what they did. That's what they did. So what I'm going to do is what I believe we did last time. I'm going to go ahead and put the list in the comments. So you guys, and then I guess Grease, I think you pinned it so it'll stay up top. I think you did that.
Yeah.
Do you recall that?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, basically, you're going to see the name of the artist, then the name of the song, and the year it was released. Now, at the end of that list, and this is not the official, this is just me. This list that I'm going to put is just the songs that I could remember. Okay, because we're talking over 200 songs that were mentioned. Okay, and these are just the ones that I could remember off the top of my head. Okay, because this is a long time ago. This is like 2014. This is a long time ago. Okay, so these are just the songs that I can remember off the top of my head. And at the bottom of these songs, you're going to see names. And these are some of the names of the people that were asked to turn in their list. These are people from all over the world. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do this here real quick.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to ask some questions here. So out of the people that you kind of like researched and saw, they asked, any of them on the West Coast?
Not that I could recall, no. Okay. Not that I could recall. I don't know if they asked Doc Martin. I don't remember if they asked Doc, or maybe like a Taylor or somebody from the Wicked Crew up in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because they might have asked Doc for some reason. That name I don't remember. They could have. They probably could have asked DJ Dan. Yeah. They probably could have asked somebody like maybe a Donald Glad or somebody like, up north somewhere like that. I don't remember. I couldn't really tell you. But I'm gonna put the list now.
That could answer a lot of the questions of like why the songs that we grew up with listening to were not.
I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that. And take it easy. Let me see. Okay.
A fight. Don't fuck with Suave today. Rick Purix, don't fuck with him today. Rick, take it easy. All right, Rick, take it easy.
let me do this one more time here. You know what? They could have asked Doc. I'm not too sure. I really don't know. I don't know. Maybe they asked Marcus Wyatt would be another one. If they were going to ask anybody from LA, it would be Doc, obviously, Marcus Wyatt, David Alvarado, Taylor, who else? A big record label person, PR person out here.
So they're not going to hit like the people that, like you said, people that listen to Rebel Day 702. Those people that they didn't get asked. Tony B didn't get asked.
No, Michael Trance did not get asked. Modern Romance did not get asked.
None of these. Sorry. All right.
BDK was not asked. They did not ask me.
Should ask BDK.
They definitely didn't ask me.
They should ask BDK.
So
guys, this is already lopsided, bro. It's already lopsided, man. Northeast LA did not get asked. Period, bro.
Yeah, no, that's just unfortunately, unfortunately, that's not how it works. But give me a second, so I could.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have to, because I guess there's too many names. It's not grabbing all of them, so I'm gonna have to do this maybe a section at a time.
Yeah, man, just post it up. We'll do the half and then the half.
Yeah, I think that's what I think that's what I'm gonna have to do.
But
Because
see, I
it's
mean,
not.
that's what I'm saying is like why we would feel a certain way about the list. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's gonna be a lot of bangers because of house music has a bunch of really cool music bangers. A lot of the music that's gonna pop up probably won't be something that we think is or should be. And maybe we should do that. Maybe after this, I'm just gonna make a poll, have everybody hit me up, give me their
Well, I think
top five.
hey, Grease, you're getting way ahead of me.
Damn it.
You're getting
Hey
way ahead of me.
man, you need to
Okay,
talk to me. Send me some notes, man. Send me some
you're
notes.
getting way ahead of me, son.
It's gonna be Duke. It's gonna be Duke.
You're getting way ahead of me. So
We'll make a we'll make a
I'm gonna.
magazine just to post these, dude. I don't give a fuck. We'll make a magazine just to post the top 10.
Yeah, let me see if this works now, because I want to see if I could do this all in one swoop, but okay, no, it's
Yeah.
not. Okay, so
Ants in
I'm
your
gonna have
pants.
to do it. I'm gonna have to
Ants in
do
your
it in
pants.
sections.
Ants in your pants. Ants in
I'm gonna
your pants.
I'm gonna have to do it in sections. So let's see here. I wasn't planning on doing it like that, but okay. I'm gonna have to do it in quite a few sections here.
There's some hoes in this house. Yes. Yes. Those are bangers. Yes. Magic Carpet Ride. Yes.
Yeah,
Planet Soul.
yeah.
Out Here Brothers.
Unfortunately, those are not on the list.
Oh, I'm just
Those
reading with
names
you
did
know,
not come up.
and effects like, hey, Lickett has to be on there. Anthony says there's some hoes in this house, bro. These are classic bangers, bro.
Yes,
They're still
absolutely.
dubbing this music to this day for
Absolutely.
rappers. You know what I mean? But the Europeans, they forget who created this shit. Start throwing some blows, bro. They forget who started this gangster shit.
Um,
Ants in the
okay.
pants. Come on, dude. These are bangers, bro. The Witch Doctor. That one probably made it. The Witch Doctor. There it is. Frankie Knuckles. Oh, this is the one you want me to save?
Yeah, there's gonna be a few of these.
I only could
So
save one, bro. So you want me to start with this one?
bear with me here. Bear with me here
I'm gonna pin
because
that comment right there. There you go.
so bear with
I mean,
me because it's gonna be a few of these. Hold on. It's gonna be a few of these.
I'm just gonna hold to that one for right now. The first one you posted. I mean, yeah. I mean, guys, DJs growing up, California, you know, Vegas, you know, West Coast, Phoenix, Utah. They're gonna have a different list. We're gonna have a different list. Don't we have
Well,
a?
it's not okay. Like I said, you're getting ahead of me here. Just let me do this, and then I'm gonna continue. Um, because it goes beyond uh, graphical. Okay, it's not just Miami because it's Miami or New York because it's New York. Which, even though you are right, I mean, what goes on in New York, it's a lot different that what goes on here in LA to a certain point.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
dude. I mean,
you
house
know,
music in Miami is totally different to the West Coast.
yeah, there's definitely a Miami sound. There's
Yes,
definitely a New York sound, and obviously there's definitely a Chicago sound.
we all know.
And there's also a West Coast sound
Yeah, yeah,
too, especially out of San Francisco. There's definitely that
yeah.
too.
Even a SoCal
So
style, man.
okay, so it's all pinned up. I mean, it's all posted right now, so you guys could go ahead and check it out. But yeah, um, so basically, um, and basically what you're saying, you know, well, it's LA, it's Chicago, it's New York. Um, Obviously, New York's New York, Chicago, but here in LA, and the reason why, um, when I mentioned that if anybody in LA is going to be asked, if Mixmag and DJ Times are going to ask somebody in LA, it's either going to be Doc Marcus, David Alvarado, maybe a Taylor, or maybe like a DJ Dan. And the reason why, and the reason why DJs like in the East Side, that DJs that they would know, how come they're not being asked? Unfortunately, as I want to be as polite, we're nobodies. Okay, that's just in the eyes of the world on a global scale. We're nobody.
Fuck the.
I'm nobody. Modern is nobody, and I don't. And it sucks. But all these other DJs that the East Side sees as gods, they're nobody in the eyes on a global scale when it comes to DJ Times and Mix Mag and Music Magazine and on a global scale, we're nobody. And that's just the actual factual. When the world talks about Chicago house music, the world now, okay, when you go to Japan, when you go to Europe, when you go to South America, when you go to all these places and when you talk to the world, okay, when you ask the world about Chicago house music, I'm sorry, Bad Boy Bill's name is not coming up. It's just not. Okay? And that's not taken away with all the amazing things that Bad Boy Bill has done and the legendary DJ that he is. Okay? But the reality is he's not. Okay? That's just the actual factuals. You talk to all these people over the world, and just go to Miami, just go to the Winter Music Conference and have a conversations about Chicago house music. Yeah, they're not going to be talking about Alex Peace. They're not going to be talking about Tragic. They're just not. Okay? So when the world talks about the house music scene out here in the West Coast, yeah, my name is not coming up. Modern's name's not coming up. Michael Trance's name's not coming up. Henry's name's not coming up. Okay? Because we're a bunch of nobodies. Whose names come up? When all these journalists started coming to LA in the 90s, they were talking to Marcus Wyatt, Doc Martin, DJs like that. Unfortunately, we're not them. They didn't ask us. And that's why when the world is asked, what's your list? What are your greatest house songs? That's why Pancake and Nightcrawlers and Fire Alarm and all these other songs that the East Side here in LA and the viewers that follow you love and were anthems and were massive, that's why those songs aren't mentioned. They're just not. They're just not. Not that they don't, not that those songs didn't travel, because Nightcrawlers was a huge hit globally. I mean, what Todd Terry did with that track was amazing. Mark Kitchen, you know what I mean? But again, it's not at that level of Can You Feel It by Larry Heard. You know what I mean? So that's why when you said I was going to get into it, because if you were to ask 100 DJs out here in LA, East Side, all your Michael Trances, your Jose Two Hypes and Speedy K and all these other DJs, right? All these other DJs that everybody knows and loves out here in LA, if you were to ask them to give them their top 20 or whatever, dude, you're going to come up with a completely different list. Completely different. Okay? And that's not because it's LA. Because even here in LA, and I touched on this I think on the first sessions that you and I did, there are people here in LA in the East Side that don't have a clue about the other scene that's happening out here in Southern California. They don't have a clue. Not a clue. Yeah. Okay? They don't go to Exchange LA. They don't go to Sound. They don't go to any Factory 93 events. Most of them don't even know that exists. All they know is what they know. And it's not their fault. I'm not downing them. I'm not clowning them. I'm not ridiculing them. It's just that's what they know. Even in their own backyard, their own backyard, there's events and clubs that are being talked about all over the world, and they don't have a clue.
That's a big
of what's
backyard,
going on.
though. That's
And
a
it's
big
in their own
backyard.
backyard, and they don't have a clue.
It's a big backyard.
You know,
Yeah.
they don't have a clue. They don't know about deep events. They don't know about none of that. But like, I hate this saying, but it is what it is. It's what they know, and unfortunately, that's what it is. You know, so when you hear me talk about the best DJ out here in LA, which is obviously it's Doc, okay, because he's the one that represents not just LA, but the entire West Coast on a global scale.
Okay.
Okay.
I see.
Doc represents not just LA, but he represents the entire West Coast on a global scale. And unfortunately, I don't represent shit on a global scale, not even in my own neighborhood. So they're not going to ask me. They're not going to ask all these other DJs that everybody out here in the West Side, I mean, out here in the East Side of LA, that all the DJs that they know, you know, yeah, man. Unfortunately, nobody's going to ask on a global scale. Nobody's going to ask us. Nobody's going to ask us. So that's why these songs that you guys are reading, that's why for the majority of the people that are tuning in, they don't know about these songs. Now, obviously, there's going to be a handful of people that are watching that know these songs. You know, just like, for example, I bought a few records here. I know for a fact there's a few people tuning in that just by looking at this, they know what it is. By looking at this, they know what it is. They don't need to hear it. They already know what it is. This, boom, they know what it is. By looking at this, they know what it is. And just by looking at this, they know what it is. Yeah, but there's going to be a few people. There's going to be a few people that are tuning in that know it. Just by looking at that, they already know what it is.
Where's the record with the bottles? Where's the record with the bottles, bro? The Houseaholics. Come on, bro. We know.
You know, but unfortunately, you know, unfortunately, it is what it is. The grand majority that follow Rebel Days, yeah, they don't know, you know, and quite frankly, they don't care. They don't care about these tracks that I posted. They don't care about these. They don't care about the DJs that were asked. They don't care because they don't know and they weren't there. It's not what they know. They can't relate to it because they don't know about it or they weren't there. You know, all they know is what they know. You know, they know the Dome. They know, you know, all the East Side stuff. What's the Arena? They know Power Tools. They know all this stuff. That's what they know. Okay. And again, if you were to ask DJs that are part of that scene, yeah, dude, you're gonna get a completely different set of tracks. You know, you're gonna get what you mentioned. What you think you mentioned earlier? What Witch Doctor and all these other songs. You know, yeah, you're gonna need those. Then you're gonna get a bunch of names that everybody's gonna know. Yeah, I know that one. That's a jam. Oh my God, I was in 9th grade when I heard this. I was a senior in high school. I was shaking my ass to this song. Then they're gonna know. But it's not just, like I said, it's not just about LA and then Chicago. No, it's also about knowing and being involved in what the entire global house community is aware of. Okay. So again, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of these songs that because I remember there was one song that people were talking about. I'm like, dude, I hate that track. I fucking hate that track, but it's considered to be one of the greatest house songs of all time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how they came up. That's how they came up with the list. And like I said earlier, nobody is ever going to say, you know, this right here, this is the number one house track of all time. No one's going to say that. The only thing they can do, as they said, the only thing they can do is that this is the one that came up the most. And I'll tell you this one right here, this is, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was this one, Can You Feel It by Larry Heard, are the two that were mentioned the most.
Well, of course. I mean,
even that, they're not saying, okay, this one's number one or this one's number two. No. All they're saying is that this record is one of the ones that was mentioned the most. This one, Can You Feel It? And I believe there was another one. But yeah, so you're never going to say this is the number one or the other one's number two or whatever. That's never going to happen, because I'll tell you right now, this was in 2014, okay? If you were to ask those DJs, those same people that were asked in 2014, if you were to ask them today, yeah, the list would be a lot different, because from 2014 to now, a bunch of amazing house music has been produced that was just phenomenal, okay? And in 20 years from now, who knows how much more amazing house music is going to be produced. So it's hard to say that, let's say, Larry Heard's Can You Feel It is still going to surpass all the music that's going to be made 30 years from now. It could, but you don't know. So it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. So your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously, like always, these these higher ups always find a way to, you know what I mean? But I understand what you're saying, man. They're gonna ask, the insiders, which are really not insiders, the music producers and the record labels that, are making big global deals over, and forget about the other people. That when I try to explain house to people that don't know, especially now, explaining here in Vegas to people that don't understand, like hard house. Use hard house as an example. When we play hard house, people nowadays are like, "What is that?" Like they don't know. It's like it's a whole different world to them, and it's house music. But I mean, that's the creation that we have. So it's always going to be our music, our style of music, what we like, even if it's mass produced, is always going to be underground. That's going to be the underground, tricks to the music. Even though they play it on this and that, nobody's going to give that underground music its flowers because of that. Because they're going to ask, Europe. They're going to ask England. They're going to ask Spain and all that shit, where house is insane. House is everywhere. Even here in the United States, is created by the United States. It's still not a a big genre of music like hip hop or rock and roll, My thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why it's impossible to say. That's why it's impossible to say this is this is the number. I mean, the most you could probably say is like, this is the most, like this year, this track is the one that was downloaded the most, or whatever.
Yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah,
you could do that.
That's what they do now,
Yeah, but to say this track right here is the number one house song of all time, that is officially written in stone and cemented in stone, like this is it. No, that's never going to happen. That's never ever going to happen. The only thing that you're always going to get is just DJs turning in their top whatever, and that. And look, these are the ones that were mentioned the most.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So, I mean, I think that since we're talking about this, I think it would be interesting, Grease, if you want to hold on. What is this? I think you should hit up all these DJs that we all know and have them turn in, their top 10.
Let's do five. Let's do top five. I don't want to be
You're,
counting too much,
you're too
dude.
lazy.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing 10,
Well,
bro. What the fuck out of here?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's better you should do top 10, but instead of asking 200 DJs, just ask maybe 20 DJs.
Well, I'm honestly, just because of this, just because there's so much like the peeps that are always here at Rebel Days and coming through. You got DJ After Dark, DJ NFX, you got Rick Purex, you got all these guys that are always here. I'm gonna ask them too, but I'm also gonna ask Tony B, AJ Mora, Michael Trans. Like, I want to ask them because I'm just curious to see like the difference. Obviously, in our world, you know what I mean. It's not that we're disconnected to anybody else. It's just that this is our sound, right? Like, I always go to punk, right? Because punk is, I always compare like the house movement to punk because it was just like, it wasn't supposed to be there, and there it is, and it's huge. You know what I mean? But to the people that really listen to it and understand it, I'm a firm believer that we got it here. I mean, we have enough DJs here that, yeah, they didn't get to, I don't know, whatever status you want to call it, that's up there for in our little world, but they still DJ'd and they still DJ to this day. They should have, a good top 5 and listen to them and see what happens, see the difference. It'd be great to see, like, okay, what's your top 5? It'll be some crazy shit though. It'll be some funny shit on there. But I am curious,
Yeah, I think, and I hate to use this word, but to be inclusive, I think you should hit up, hit up Michael Trance, hit up Modern, hit up Speedy, hit up Jose Too Hype, he's in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit up Jose Too Hype and hit up people like that hit up Tony B, hit up who else can we hit up? A bunch of all these people. There's a lot of people we can hit up. You can hit up La Rock. There's plethora of DJs that you could hit up.
Delano.
Okay. That everybody knows and loves. Mm-hmm. And hit them up, and I guarantee you it's gonna be a completely different set of tracks.
Of course. By far.
Completely set of tracks. But I just wanted to make sure that this is not about, I think somebody put preference. I think it was I keep forgetting who it was. Somebody said, well, it's about a matter of taste. Well, kind of yes and kind of no. Because it's a matter of taste, because you're asking everybody on a global scale that's pretty much involved in the same type of scene. Okay. And if you're in that scene, it's because you have a particular kind of taste. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of truth to that. It's about, taste. It's a matter of opinion. Okay? The opinion, true, it is a matter of opinion, but that opinion is based on a particular scene on a global scale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You ask someone like Derek Carter, and then you ask somebody like, let's say, DJ Naughty out of Japan. You got Japan, you got Chicago. You ask him, give me your top 20. You ask Naughty from Japan, give me your top 20. They're going to look a lot similar. Opposite ends of the world, but they're involved within the same
house,
the same
system.
The house.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
House has too many faces, and this is straight up. Like, I lost count from the 90s to what it is now, and maybe this is my ignorance because of the way I wasn't a DJ. I've never been a DJ, so I didn't understand the difference, right? But I knew growing up there was house, there was hard house, and there was deep house, and then from there on, it was good. Now, even when I go to BPM Supreme, it's like future house and bass house and garage house and
Right,
acid house
right.
and hip house. So I'm trying to catch up in an Afro house and tribal house, you know, and then progressive and minimal and whatever it is. Like to me, it's growing up, it was always house, deep house, and hard house, and that was it. So that's even adding more to the mix of like, okay, this is the greatest house song. Okay, this is the greatest deep house song. I don't know. It's so complicated.
So now I'm going to post a few of the people that were asked to turn in their list.
Fuck those
Um,
putos. Fuck them.
exactly. um, and like I said, this is just a few names. This is just a few names.
David Morales, James Barton, Junior. I know who Junior is. Sounds like the actors to fucking to the what is it? The Avengers.
So there's a few names that I'm sure a lot of people know. There's a few names that that a lot of people tuning in that know who they are.
Of course,
okay.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who David Morales is. Yes. Everybody knows who Junior Vasquez. Everybody should know who Danny Tenegla is. Everybody knows Pete Tong. Everybody should know who that is. And now Pepe. Pepe is the owner of Club Space in Ibiza. Okay, so they asked him. Of course, he's seen everything. He's heard everything. He should have good insight. Obviously, Frankie Knuckles, Judy Weinstein. If you guys don't know who that is, she is highly considered to be, again, unofficially, she would be, if there was ever to be an official godmother of house music, it would be Judy Weinstein. Okay, it would be Judy Weinstein. She's out of New York, so they asked her. Everybody knows who Paul Oakenfold is. Annie Mac. Everybody should know who Annie Mac is. Famous DJ out of Radio 1 out of the UK. Francois Kevorkian, Barbara Tucker. Everybody should know who Barbara Tucker is. The singer, you know, Beautiful People. Josh Wink. Everybody should know who Josh Wink is. DJ Alfredo, the king of Ibiza. He just recently passed away last week. But Alfredo was in Ibiza before Ibiza was Ibiza. He's the one that launched. He's responsible for making Ibiza to what it is today. Okay, and obviously DJ Harvey, Simon Dunmore. He's the guy. He's the owner of Defected Records. Gladys Pizarro. She runs Strictly Rhythm. Let me see. Joe Shanahan. He's the owner of Smart Bar in Chicago. Danny Rampling, another famous DJ, Satoshi Tomei, Mark Moore. So they asked people from different spectrums, not just DJs and producers, but club owners, PR people, record label people, and these are people that have been doing it pretty much since day one. You know what I mean? So these guys have a good insight of what's, you know, their opinion kind of matters. You know, if you're gonna ask Danny Tenegla what are the top 20 house tracks of all time, yeah, people should listen to what he has to say. The same thing with everybody that was asked. That, you know, that's why they didn't ask me. So my opinion don't count.
No, but let me ask a question. And this is because you've been doing this for a while. You know, in rock music, in jazz, right? In other genres of music, a lot of the times the greatest musicians that they've heard or whatever are the ones that are playing in these little small, you know, rundown bars or in their backyard or whatever, right? Do you not feel that maybe house music is more of a like a oof kind of thing compares to like, you know, jazz and rock, where it's like you're finding the greatest music in these places where you wouldn't even think, like dive bars. So many great artists have came out of dive bars. But then you talk to house music, and this is just my personal view of things, it's so colorful, man. It's so rainbows. It's so like powdered blue shirts and everything's so dandy with house music and this and that. But there's some good house music being played in these is there a place like that, that's what I'm trying to say, where you can go like old bars, like where you would discover bands and jazz musicians. Do they not take account to that kind of in the house world?
Are you saying like if a DJ to be like if they were gonna discover a DJ
Like producer,
at
like
some
music, like we're talking about music, right? You got some DJs
uh-huh.
playing, like, so you got, I don't know too much about how many bands were found in freaking these dive bars or whatever, but going to like, hey, how about music that was, do they seek that kind of style of house that's a little bit more grittier, a little bit more grimier than what we're used to from a European kind of deal?
Now,
Because
dude, I'm sorry, I'm reading some of these comments here. Okay, say that again one more time. I'm sorry.
So
dude.
I'm just saying, like, house, rock and jazz have their secret little grimy music where they discover great bands, right? And all of a sudden their music becomes great. Does house music have something like that? In layman's terms, do
You
they
know
go
what?
out and they figure out,
Yes.
hey,
House music does have that.
okay,
It's called TikTok, YouTube, and SoundCloud. That's what it's called. You know what I mean? A producer in their bedroom with a laptop makes a track. What do? It's up on TikTok.
yeah,
It's up on YouTube. It's up on SoundCloud. It's up on Facebook. It's up on IG. So yeah, that's what even in the 90s. In the 90s, when a producer made a track, okay, what did they do? Back in the 90s, for all you kids tuning in, back in the 90s, see, today, a producer makes a track, they'll email it to 100 DJs, okay?
I've gotten a bunch of those.
Yeah, back in the 90s, they would, the way a DJ would test out a record, okay, would test out a record at a club is a thing called an acetate, okay, which basically it's a record that you go to a press and you pay X amount of money, okay. It's roughly, if I remember correctly, it's roughly between $60 and $80 for one. Okay, so you would pay the guy to press you an acetate. It looks like a record, it works like a record, but the material is a little hard. It's almost like a metal. Okay, and you would pay this press person, that owns a vinyl press. They'll press an acetate. It'll be $60 to $80 for one. So you would pay, a few $100s for like 5 or 6 acetates, and you would give it to the key DJs you want to play the track, make it, test it out. Okay, so it got very expensive, but that's how we did it back then. Another way is on a tape. Record on a tape. Take the tape player to a party, maybe not a club, but take a player to a party and hit play. Okay, that's another way. But at a club, rave, underground level in the 90s, that's how we tested out music.
When you were DJing,
the thing with the acetate is after a certain amount of plays, it starts to wear out. So it doesn't last forever. So it's good for about 60 plays or so. Okay, but that's a good way that a DJ can see if their track works or not. If it's worth shopping it, if it's worth either pressing it yourself or shopping it to different labels. And sometimes the label itself, sometimes you'll send the track on a DAT tape, okay? You'll send it to the label, and the label will press an X amount of acetates and give it to their DJs, and they'll get the feedback. And if the feedback's positive, then the label will sign the artist or sign that track to their label. Okay, so that's how they did it. So So when it comes to a musician or an actual person playing instruments, yeah, you would have to perform that live to an audience. Okay, and you do that at jazz bars and dive bars and stuff like that. When it comes to producing electronic music, there really isn't that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way to test it would be the way I just told you.
Yeah.
You know, so back then it would be acetates. Today, yeah, it would be TikTok, or well, if TikTok will still be around by next week. Okay, so you know, if TikTok is no longer, then yeah, it'll be YouTube, it'll be Instagram, it'll be SoundCloud, it'll be, you know what I mean? Yeah. Flash drive. Somebody will buy a bunch of flash drives and put it on, or they'll just email it to everybody that they know. You know, so that's how it's done. That's how it would be done.
How many acetate records have you gotten in your career?
Oh, quite a bit, especially in Miami with the music conference. Man, acetates are being tossed everywhere. I would say a few hundred, maybe.
Shit.
A few hundred. I still have. I mean, you throw them away because they're no longer playable. But I think I might have a few floating around somewhere if I look. I think I might have a few floating around. But it's there's no label on it. Sometimes it might have a label, but usually it's all black. You know, and it's a very metallic material. If you tap it, you could hear the little metallic sound. You could cut yourself on it because the edge could be pretty sharp. But yeah, that's how we did it. That's how we did it back in the day.
The more you know. I like that. Yeah. I mean,
good thing for the internet because man, $60-$80 for one, you know, and let's say you want to give it to 8-9 DJs, that's a big chunk of change.
Bro, but see, I mean, back then you're like, okay, I've put my heart and soul into this motherfucker. Like, this is my track. I produced the shit out of it. I'm going to go spend the money to give it to you. Nowadays, I feel like sometimes people just, here, I made a song. Let me throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. Like, I just made 300. Dude, every week, every 3 days, there's a new jam popping up. Motherfuckers are producing, same producers dropping like 20, 30 songs a month. Let's see if this one sticks. Oh, let's see if this one works. Oh, let's see if this one works. You know what I mean? Back then is like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to, I guess now I understand old people. When I was younger, back in my days, we listened to, you know what I mean? So it does change a lot of the thing. How about this? Why don't you tell me your personal top 5 off the top of your head? Your top 5 off of the top of your head.
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, definitely this one. This would probably be my number 1.
What's that?
It's called Deep Burn by Pepe Braddock. Okay. This one, probably Shay Damier out of Detroit. A track called Close is another one. Is up there for me. Welcome to the Factory, Angel Moraes is up there for me. Black Science Orchestra. It's called Save Us. Ashley Beadle, one of my all-time favorite. Then probably, man, and now that I'm thinking, I'm probably thinking another one that might replace, Welcome to the Factory. That's a hard question to ask a long-time DJ like myself.
Yes, and on the fly.
So much music. It's like, I could think right now and give you five names. And 10 minutes later, I could think of 5 other names that'll probably be more than the first 5. You know what I mean? So it's real, but yeah.
And you have to think, that's the thing, is like once you think about it, it's gonna change.
If I really start to think. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
My head will really start to explode if I start to think. I think it would be better if I were to come up with a top 30 or a top 40, and that way it'll be like, okay, yeah, these would be, but for me to even this one, that I would say would probably be my number 1. I probably wouldn't put, let's say, like, you know, I probably wouldn't put this one over this one.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm saying this would be my number one, this one is still like, wow. You know, every time I hear this one, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say. And your favorite, the one with the glasses, the one gets get drunk. Even this one, it's like, you know, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Northern Lights would be another. Would be the 5. Northern Lights by Caucasian Boy. It's an acid house track. Phenomenal record. It's just not my personal favorite. It's one of those records that really, it was a shot heard around the world. It was one of those tracks that you heard it everywhere. Ibiza, Japan, Australia. It was that much of an epic record. But yeah, to say 5, that would be the 5. That would be your 5 right there. You know,
and that's,
if I were to come back 20 minutes later, it would be another different 5.
Yeah, no, and that's the way it works, because like obviously you're a DJ, and then you're gonna ask a person like me that's not a DJ, right?
Yes, you are.
Trust me, I'm not. But anyways, you know what I mean. So doing that stuff, and you're asking me, hey, what's your top? I'm not gonna correlate like the music how you are with the way I'm thinking, right? For me, it's gonna be like 5 house songs, and I'm gonna tie an emotion to it. And that's why they're going to be my top 5, right? Like for you, this is your business. You've been doing it for years. Dude, this song just fits everything that I like, that I want from a song, right? These are my top 5. For me, it's going to be like, oh man, I remember when I heard this song the first time. I remember how many people how many girls I danced with. I remember where I was at with this song. So the connection to music, picking a top 5 for myself, are going to be totally different from like you being a professional in the industry, doing it for so long, and in so many decades, spanning, still being that professional, still playing music from the 90s till today. Every 5 years, shit's changing huge, even less than that now. Yeah. But, and for me, it's always going to be like, well, I'm always going to say Duke, because, hey, there's this and that happened. Magic Carpet Ride, because this and this and this happened. You know what I mean? Those are the songs that pop in my head first, for it, so.
Yeah,
I see it. Yeah, it's always going to be a difference, man.
Yeah, and it boils down to, like I said, out here in LA, you have the East Side, it's a bubble, they know what they know, they love what they love, and that's why that's why I think we really should come up with a list of DJs that everybody knows, so people won't get all butthurt.
No, I mean, it's just an explanation of like, yo, okay, I'm gonna give, because I think this is what happens, is that sometimes when we do things like this, right? You're saying, hey, we're gonna do something, we're talking about, the greatest house songs of all time and stuff like that, and then the unheard get booty heard because they want to be heard, right? Like, so it's like you ask all this.
Let me pause you right there. And it's not that they don't want, and it's not that they want to be heard. Okay, it's not that. And this is well, let me rephrase that. In my opinion, it's not that. Okay. In my opinion, the reason why people get butthurt or whatever, the way we're talking about right now, is that you have these DJs, these house music fans, that been house music DJs and house music fans for over 30 years. Okay? For over 30 years. And they feel they have accumulated a certain amount of knowledge that they feel like, you know what? Hey, I know some shit too.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? I know some shit too. And what happens is, when the shit that they know is not being mentioned, then they're like, wait a minute.
I know.
I know
Yeah.
what I know. You're not talking about what's going on.
Who the
You know
fuck
what
are you?
I
Yeah,
mean? You
yeah.
know.
I agree
So
completely. Yes,
so
yes.
so it's not really like, I want to be heard. It's more like their knowledge is being questioned all of a sudden. Their knowledge is being questioned. Their knowledge is being what's the word? It's being
Challenged.
contradicted. It's
Yeah,
being
it's being
challenged.
challenged. It's being
You know,
challenged.
and now all of a sudden they're thinking, what? Everything I know is
Yeah,
wrong. Everything I know doesn't matter. No, what you know is not wrong. What you know does matter. Okay, but
It's not to Europe.
unfortunately, it only
Just not to
matters
those.
in your area.
Yeah, just
It
not
only
to those
matters
limey
in the
bastards.
bubble. It only matters in the bubble that you're in. You know what I mean? It only matters in the bubble that you're in. It doesn't matter on a global scale.
Yeah.
And that's the key. That's what people need to understand. This is a global thing. Okay? When people talk, that's why I said when people talk about Chicago house music on a global scale, yeah, they're not talking about Bad Boy Bill.
No.
They're not.
It's a shame.
You know?
No, you're right.
They're talking about Derek Carter. They're talking about Mark Farina, DJ Heather, all these other DJs. Okay? They're not talking about Alex Peace or all these other DJs that you might be familiar with. Okay? They're not. That's just, it is what it is. They're not. Not saying that what they did doesn't matter, because it does. Okay? It does matter. Doesn't make them less of an artist, doesn't make them any less of a DJ, doesn't make what they did any less. Okay? It's just that on a global scale, that's not what they are talking about.
Yeah.
That's just not what they are talking about. I remember this, I want to say it was on Power Tools. And they were interviewing Bad Boy Bill. Speaking of Bill, and I think this is when Bad Boy Bill, he went to Europe. He played at a club in Europe, and I don't know the exact word for word, but I do remember Bill saying this. He said it was very humbling because when he went to Europe, it wasn't like Bill coming to LA. Bill comes to LA, to the east side. Woo, Bad Boy Bill, Bad Boy Bill. Bad Boy Bill goes to Europe. Okay, he's just the opening DJ for the man. You know what I mean? And that's what Bill, and that's exactly what Bad Boy Bill was referring to.
Yeah.
Okay. David Morales, even the great David Morales in the early days. This is in the early 90s. Okay, before this country really embraced electronic music. David Morales would, when he would go to Italy, it would be like paparazzi. You know what I mean? It would be paparazzi. He couldn't be left alone. Out here in New York, he could walk the streets of New York and nobody would say nothing.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that in Italy. He couldn't do that in Italy.
I've heard stories like that. Yeah.
So it's not that they're, and I use the word nobody, but I'm in the context of on a global scale. Okay, I'm not saying that Bill is a nobody because he's not. I'm not saying all these other people, Alex Peace. I'm not saying that they're nobodies because they're not.
Yeah.
Okay, but just like here in LA, people know who I am, but I'm a complete nobody outside of my little bubble here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is, because they're all of a sudden they're questioning themselves. They're like, wait a minute, I'm old school, I'm OG, I know this, I know that. Why isn't the stuff that I know not being mentioned? I think that's what you're really getting, opposed to, again, my opinion, opposed to, I just want to be heard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get you.
I think that's kind of like the root of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, that's what it is. You know, these are house tracks that have literally are being played and admired worldwide, and that's why if all the people that are tuning in, you know, they're let's face it, they're all East Side. You know, I'm East Side. You know, but they're all East Side people, and the majority of them, they just don't really in their own backyard. They have no idea what's going on. You know, I want to be careful how I say this.
Careful. Don't get banned.
Because I hear this all the time. You know, in regards to certain parties, and we'll just leave it at that. Certain parties that you, Grease, have attended out here in LA. And people consider that party the house scene of LA.
Yes.
It's not. It really isn't.
It's the East Side house scene of LA.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's the East Side house scene of LA. Not the LA house scene. I would say 98% of the people that attend those parties, they don't go to Sound. They don't go to LA. They don't go to Academy. They don't go to any Factory 93 parties. They don't go to any deep events. They don't go to Lick and Dip. They don't go to nothing. They don't go to anything like that. One, they don't even know it exists. Two, it's not their lane. It's not what they know. You know what I mean? That's the house music scene of LA. It really is. Okay? These other parties, like you said, it's the East Side.
Yeah.
The East Side house scene. Not LA as a whole.
Yeah.
Not LA as a whole. It just, fact of the matter is that's the actual factuals. Not talking shit. That's just what it is. It really is.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
and these people, I want to say, these people that attend those parties, they may know of EDC because everybody knows about EDC. Even if they never been to EDC, they know about it. Okay, and a few of them might go because it's EDC.
It's a thing.
There are thousands of people that's the only electronic type of event they'll go to.
Yes.
Because it's EDC.
It's an event.
Yes.
It's
EDC.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily into the music. They just go because it's the spectacle. Yes. It's EDC. You know what I mean?
See it all the
time. So they go.
Yep.
And right. You see it all the time.
They have it here in Vegas all the time. I see it all the time. No.
These people, they don't have a clue about any kind of who the DJ is or anything like that, but because it's a spectacle, it's the biggest thing on the planet, or one of the biggest things on the planet, and it's in Vegas, and everybody hears about it. Oh, I want to dress up. I want to put some candy on my wrist. I want to get all dolled up. Sure, once a year, I'm down. I'll lose my mind for once a year. Sure. You know what I mean? So, but at these parties that quote unquote is the LA house scene, you have the majority of these people, they go to Sage, they go to Tres Vinos, you know what I mean? They go to all these other places, but they're not really the LA house scene.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that will go through life thinking that's the only thing that LA has. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
No. I mean, you're right in a sense.
I didn't wake up one morning and say, boom, I know the underground and I know this. No, fortunately, I was lucky to have a friend to guide me into that direction. If it wasn't for that friend, we probably wouldn't be talking right now. You know what I mean? So yeah. Again, to reiterate this whole thing, that's why a lot of these house names, these tracks, that a lot of the people that are tuning in, a lot of people that follow your page don't know about. That's basically it.
No, I
That's
mean,
basically it. That's why we should make. That's why Rebel
we
Day
are.
702 is gonna come up with their own inclusive
Yes.
house list,
Yes.
so they could feel included. Well, you'll ask all the Eastside DJs to turn in their
Yes.
top 10.
Top 10 greatest house songs to you.
And there you go. You're
Because,
gonna have all the witch doctors are gonna come up, all the professional widows are gonna come up. What is it? Was it Dookie Booty? Dookie Booty? Oh, that's gonna come
Ants
up.
in your
All that
pants.
shit's gonna come
Magic carpet ride. Duke.
Yes. Yes. All that's gonna come up, and everyone's gonna be happy.
and you know, even here in Vegas, that we're so close, in the 90s party scene in Vegas was very much influenced from the Southern California East Side. So it was at Nela, right? Northeast Los Angeles, you know, style, right? Was it last year, 2 years ago? We had Bad Boy Bill and Alex Peace DJing for free at the Fremont, in the Fremont, you know, the little promenade they had right there, the Fremont Street Experience. They have a couple of stages if you guys haven't been to Vegas, and they always have bands and groups and stuff like that playing. You had Bad Boy Bill and Alex Peace DJing for free. You didn't have to pay. You're just walking down the street on Fremont. They're DJing there for free. It was chill. It was chill. It was cool. You know what I mean? Here in Vegas, we get a lot of that kind of, you know, to put it into perspective. You got the guy that throws the cakes. What's his name?
Stevie Aoki.
Aoki can't walk around Vegas. You know what I mean? Like,
you'll get
Aoki's
mobbed.
huge. Yeah,
you'll get mobbed.
You know?
Yeah.
What's the other white guy that was with Taylor Swift?
Calvin Harris.
Calvin Harris.
Yeah.
Same shit, right? Like, those guys are huge in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, that's it. Like, even though here we're so close, and a lot of the influence came from the Southern California for us, for me in the 90s, dude, it ain't, that's it. Oh, look, Bad Boy Bill and Alex Peace were here for free. You could go see these two DJs for free, spinning for 2 hours on Fremont Street Experience. Just come and hang out. That's it, for free. It was like, cool. Vegas was like, all right, cool. We'll be there. No problem. I'll be at the Four Queens. No problem. Like, it was like nothing, man. So it was like, fuck, dude. That's the Chainsmokers, you know, Black Coffee, you know. Those guys, when you're pulling into Vegas and you see the big old billboards, those are the, you know, Swedish Mafia. Those are the big ones, right? And even then, people don't even know who they are, right? Because it's like, it's just a thing. Like, Vegas is what you're calling EDC. I'm gonna go to, I don't even know what's cool anymore. I haven't been to a club in years, but let's just say Hakkasan, which I know is gone, or the Tao, you know, go to Tao or whatever. That's like, I don't care who's playing. I'm just gonna show up. You know, day clubs at the pool. I don't know who's playing. I'm just gonna show up. It's good music, whatever. Nobody cares. Yeah, it's a little crazy. Nobody cares. They got these big old billboards. Like, oh, cool, let's go. I mean, real house heads that understand that might go, but I don't know. I don't want to get cake in my face, man. Yeah, I mean,
but
Disco Pussy does hold it down. But even then, 2 years ago, I went with Miraz and Madam X. We went to hang out there with Bad Boy Bill was there spinning at Disco Pussy, and it's not like if Bad Boy Bill would have been spinning at, you know, in LA. You know what I mean? And it's just a totally different world. Like, we walked in, there was no line. The place was not even, you know, to say like, oh, I can't even get a drink. It was very like weird, you know what I mean? But for us, it's like, where's everybody at? Like, how come people are not here? Irene has come to Vegas a bunch of times, and we've gone and seen it. And it's just like, yeah, chill, you know, like, it is. But you go to California, it's like, you know, Southern Cal, like with you guys, East, bro, fucking insanity, dude. It's fucking packed. It's insane. They do it over here. It's like, oh, it's like, it's another DJ. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just just, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.
It's just
So
what we're into, man. This is what we're into, and this is what, our little world is, our little bubble, and we live on this bubble. And if anybody wants to learn about it, they step in. But other than that, this is what it is, man. It's just this is our greatness at a certain area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't see myself doing events like that. What's up?
Yeah, I'm reading the comments and I'm trying to, see. Now earlier I read. I wanted it. It was maybe 30, 40 minutes ago, probably. And I'm trying to see who said it so I could ask him. I don't even know if he's still on or not, but who was it? I want to see who was
real
it.
quick, if you guys want to ask some questions and us talk about it, right down there, there's a little circle with the question mark. Click on that, drop the question, and we'll try to answer it as we go. You know what I mean? Right now, we're just going from the top of our heads and just doing what we do and just talk about it,
Oh, yeah. Sammy. I'm not sure if that's the Sammy that I know or another Sammy, but he just put flat out, "You're wrong." I'm trying to figure out about what.
Everything.
I don't know what he was referring to.
You're wrong.
That was about 30, 40 minutes ago, so I don't.
Bro.
What?
Take the L, bro. You're wrong at everything you said today, bro. Nobody cares. Nobody cares you brought receipts, bro. The fucking Dookie Booty is the greatest song of all time. Period.
It is. Dookie Booty is the greatest song of all time. I got a big old Dookie Booty. Grease got a big old hairy booty. Grease got a big old crusty booty.
Yes,
that's it. That's the number one song. Good night.
Yeah, bro. Good night. That's it. We're done. Nah, man.
Somebody posted on there's no bangers on this list. I don't know what you mean by bangers, but definitely massive classic anthems on that list.
That's the East Los Angeles fucking word, bro. Bangers. What you bringing the bangers? Like, war is a banger. I don't care what anybody says. I'll take that motherfucker to fucking Ibiza. I'll go to fucking Europe with them limey fucks, and I'll be like, hey, war is a banger. I don't care what you guys are listening to.
Oh man, but yeah, dude,
yeah.
That's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. That's just the list that I posted that you guys could see. That's just a handful of the tracks that I remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure obviously there's. I think I want to say it was over 100 songs.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
It was over 100 songs, and these are just the ones that I remember. And the reason why I remember them because I have them, obviously. Okay. Because those are the ones that I remember because I have them. I'm pretty sure there are songs that are on this list that I don't have. Yes, another one that's on this list that I remember now. That everybody knows. Everybody should be happy that this was on one. This was definitely on the list because I do remember. It was JD, Plastic Dreams. Everybody knows that one. That was on the list. Okay, everybody should know that one. But that made the cut.
There we go. We got one, guys.
That track made the cut.
All right, here we go. This one's from Jason. Big difference between Does Your Mama Know and Florentine Gardens.
Exactly. That's what I'm referring to. You have the East Side, okay? You have the East Side, and just to touch a little bit of history. Back in the early 90s, early 90s, I would say, and I would even throw this into the Dome, okay? Because I'm assuming when he says Florentine Gardens, I'm assuming he's talking about the Dome. The early years of I can't remember. No, I think this was post the Dome, okay? Because in the early 90s, we're talking when the whole rave underground scene and the whole house scene of LA started flourishing. We're talking from 88 to like 92. That 4-year gap or 6-year gap right there, or span, shall I say? There was no East Side or West Side, okay? There was no East Side or West Side. It was all one. The whole East Side, West Side, that slowly started becoming more and more throughout the years. By like 96, definitely. huge difference. You have the west side and you have the east side. But in 88, 89, 90, 91, it was all one.
It was all the same thing.
It was all one. There was no east side, there was no west side. It was all one. I can't pinpoint exactly when or what made it to become the east side and west side. Yeah, okay. I can't. I just know that I was involved, and before I realized it, you had the east side and you had the west side. You know what I mean?
Rick brings it up. It says that was pre-Hard House. Do you think the catalyst was Hard House into where?
No, because I remember. Well, I don't want to say. For me, the first Hard House song that I remember, okay, that was that when I first heard it, I said, wait a minute, this is something completely different. What the fuck is this? Okay, this does not sound like anything else that I've heard before all these DJs play. The very first one I heard was Pants Are Sagging. Okay, I don't know who did it, but it's called Pants Are Sagging. When I first heard that, okay, when I first heard that, there was already East Side, West Side. And I'm not saying that that's the first Hard House song, okay? I'm not saying Pants Are Sagging is the first Hard House song, but I am saying the first time I heard a Hard House track, it was that. Because that caught my attention in the worst way, because it was completely different than anything else, not just that I have heard, but all the DJs in the East Side, okay? Because remember, I had my foot in the East Side and the West Side. I was checking out the party crew scene in my neighborhood, you know, West Covina, La Puente, San Gabriel Valley. I was checking that out. So when I first heard Pants Are Sagging, it was somewhere maybe in Almani or something like that when I first heard it. And the DJs during that time, they weren't playing anything like that. But when I first heard that, there was already East Side, West Side. So to say it was Hard House that did the split, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think it's I couldn't even think who to ask that might have a more solid answer. Maybe Doc. I could ask him. Maybe Doc, or maybe even Jerry Mraz, to really pinpoint where and more specifically why and how. Because, like I said, from 88 to like 92, even 93, dude, who remembers K-Rave? That was 92, I believe. K-Rave. There was no East Side, West Side. That was everybody. You know? Are you familiar with K-Rave, Grease?
I'm not, but dude, I'm loving this right now.
It was a New Year's Eve party, 1992. It was a New Year's Eve party, 1992 at Knott's Berry Farm. Okay. And they called it K-Rave. K because of the Knott's Berry Farm. They called it K-Rave. Dude, there was no East Side, West Side thing. It was all one. So I can't really tell you when, specifically where and how and why. I just know that gradually throughout the years, it became two different worlds. The East Side and the West Side, two complete, not just scenes, but completely different worlds. Man, to a point where the East Side doesn't even know the West Side exists.
Yeah, I mean to the whole point of like, yeah, this is our and vice versa.
Dude, you have not hard house, but you have die-hard house DJs in the East Side that have been doing it as long as I have, and they don't have a clue who Marcus White is.
Yep.
They don't have a clue who Doc is. They don't have a clue who DJ Taylor is or Sandra Collins.
Yeah,
not a clue. You know what I mean? Why? You know what I mean?
And you're right. I real quick, 99.7 right now. That's like the EDM station. Got invited to their little grand opening, and I'm chopping it up with DJ Dan. DJ Dan's right there, and I like take the opportunity to introduce myself and talk to him, and when we're chopping it back and forth, and we're explaining, me and DJ Dan are explaining to all these younger DJs and the producers of the show and of the station, and we're going back and forth about house music and how I was explaining to him the influence in Vegas back in the 90s was very east and he was west, and we're going back and forth, and the people are looking at like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, like there's two sounds to the house scene in California and LA. It was the east side scene and the west side scene, and these people couldn't understand like what me and DJ Dan were talking about, which was super cool. And we're having this conversation, me and you right now, which I enjoy completely, because I am curious now as to what was the thing or the catalyst or the idea or the thing that cut that in half. And you're right. There's people you say, oh yeah, dude, Donald Glaude. Never heard of him. What do you mean you never heard Donald? I've heard of Donald Glaude. I like his music. I like how he plays. He's like, yeah, I've never heard, of Donald Glaude. Like, what the Doc Martin, I think he's transcended both sides, and a lot of people know who he is on both ends. But like, Taylor or or Glaude or whatever, they don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, that's crazy. I like that. I like where this went, dude. I like this very much, because now I'm gonna. I know what's his name sleeping right now, fucking Miraz, but I'm about to call that motherfucker, because that motherfucker's like a fucking history book. I'm gonna call him, be like, yo, okay, what was it? Who did it? What cut it?
Right. Because I'm curious to know too, because like I told you, man, it was all one. It was all one, and obviously in the very beginning. But yeah, and like I said, before I knew it, there was two different scenes.
Okay.
The West Side, and it wasn't just split geographically or even race. Okay,
that's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, it was split musically.
Yes, like a wall. Like they don't even exist, and they're in the same city. Yeah,
and not oddly enough, but curiously, because you had the East Side, which obviously predominantly all Hispanic, and you go to the West Side scene, it's white, Asian majority, okay, and then black and Hispanic.
Okay.
But you go to let's say, for example, if you were to go to a deep event, you go to a deep event, or even a We Own the Night event, what Scott K does. Predominantly white, Asian. Yes, there's Hispanics there, obviously. There's a lot of black people there, obviously, but it's predominantly white and Asian. You go to the early, if you were to go to the early rave days, okay, Candy B3, Juju Beats, all those big early rave days, bro, dude, it was Chino heaven. It was predominantly Asians everywhere. Do Asians, just because what is the Asian race more they gravitate more to house music than a Hispanic person? I have no idea. But that's what it was. You would go to all these raves in the early 90s at the National Orange Show, or even in LA. Man, it was like 70% Asian. And then white. And then the rest would be Hispanic and black. As the years goes on, it got a little bit more evenly divided. Okay, you go to a rave now. If you were to, like, let's say, Lick and Dip, for example. Lick and Dip is as closest to a actual real rave today as it was back then. You go to Lick and Dip now, it's pretty much a mix of everything. Okay. But if you were to go to, let's say, Factory 93, a Factory 93 event, which is, it's a rave, but a legal one. It's not till 8 in the morning. It's not alcohol all night, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to a Factory 93, yeah, man, you could be like, okay, there's one Hispanic, there's another Hispanic, there's another Hispanic, there's another Hispanic, and then 5 minutes later, okay, another Hispanic. But if you were to say Chinos, okay, Chino. There's a white dude, white, oh, Hispanic, white, oh, black, white, oh, there's a Latino, white, oh, no, you know what I mean? So even though it's a little more mixed, it's still predominantly a Chino thing, you know, and especially in the trance scene.
I mean, that's
love that shit, you know. That you go to a trance event out here in LA, man, it's predominantly Asian. They love that shit, you know. They love, but why and how, I do not know.
Okay,
I do not know.
I like I like where we're going with this whole, bro. I love where we're going with this. So, okay, as impactful and prolific as Power Tools was. Now, Power Tools is being listened through that whole LA scene. Is it predominantly East because of Vision, or are you getting a mix of also West in that? And I know there are other radio stations that were involved, Groove and all that stuff, that were playing music the same thing at the same time and doing all that stuff. But what is the sound? Obviously, you guys are in a huge city. It's huge. For me in Vegas, it's smaller. So certain radio stations control the narrative of the music that's being, you know, listened to in that time. But during the 90s, or when this house movement was happening, you know, like you said, it's like there's a wall between the East and the West, and they don't know about each other, even though they're in the same city. The radio, what's being more, you know, listened to? For me, now obviously I know that our scene was grown from the East Side style of LA, because that's what we were listening to, that hard house, that style. We have the same ideas in the music and the way that the rays were thrown. How powerful were the radios to where like it wasn't having that, you know, effect? Or am I wrong? Because I didn't live there, so I don't know.
I believe Power Tools started in 93 or 92. I'm not, I don't remember. I know when I started being on Power Tools, it was 93. Fuck, so long ago. The only thing I could tell you is that based on what I saw on the flyers, okay, based on what I saw on the flyers, I could say that not just what's on the flyers, but also what was being played on Power Tools, who were the DJs on Power Tools, especially in the early years. In the early years, I mean, you had David Alvarado, Taylor, Sandra Collins, Dan, all these LA underground DJs, okay, along with the regular club DJs. You know, you had Tony B, obviously, he was a host. You had Orlando, you had AJ, and you had Speedy K, and you had all these other DJs as well. I can't tell you if when Power Tools started, how the scene was all still one, or was it being split already, or was it right before it split, or it was already starting to split. I couldn't tell you that. I couldn't tell you if once it split, did the West Side stop listening to it, or when everything was still one, how much of that one that later became the West Side were listening to Power Tools. I couldn't tell you that. The only thing I could tell you is that, at least for me, from me that I recall, I only saw the Power Tools logo on East Side Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw a Power Tools logo at an Underground flyer or a West Side flyer. Never saw it. Does that mean anything? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Today, obviously, it's on XM radio, I believe now. So it's a different ball game now.
Yeah, it's a different thing from what it was before.
But back then, now Jerry would be the better one to ask this question, answer this question.
I'm gonna call that motherfucker.
Okay, because he was the producer of the show. Okay,
I'm calling
but at least for me, I don't remember the Power Tools logo at Underground Flyers. I don't remember a Power Tools logo at any of the Melodic Flyers or any of the Candy B3 Flyers or any of the Sketchpad or the Does Your Mama Know. I never seen any Power Tools logo on anything West Side related flyer wise.
Interesting.
I've only remember seeing it. It's all East Side.
East Side.
That's it.
No. I mean, for us, like, you know, starting in the scene here, when we were creating the scene here, when people already had created the scene here, a lot of it was like I said, I would have my cousins record on the Memorex black tapes, record the Power Tools show, and then when we would go back to Cali, pick them up, and we would listen to them to here in Vegas, and just to get that. But see, now for us here watching this happen, it was just one scene in our minds, right? Because we would go over there, and obviously we're going to, you know, Southgate or you know, La Puente, or where all our families are at. We're going to go visit them over there, Norwalk, Whittier, you know, that area, Huntington Park. And that's where we're going to go visit our families. That's where we're getting our you know, our food of music for the scene here in Vegas at the beginning, right? After that, obviously everything evolves, but that was our thing. It was like Power Tools, and it was Power Tools and Power Tools. People wearing the T-shirts and the logos, and hey, this DJ, when they come and DJ over here, this DJ was on Power Tools. And we're like, oh shit, he was on Power Tools, cool. Now I'm learning that there is a division between the East Side and the West Side, and how, you know, influential everything was to each other, you know. And for me, it's super cool that we're diving into this, because I understand now of the dynamic of the music in Southern California on both ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sammy is saying Speedy K is the one that split the scene. Speedy
Bro,
K,
I've been trying to get Speedy K out here for a minute, dog. I even talked to him at the last event in the ditching party. Man, I was sitting down there chopping it up with House Issues and Speedy K, and Speedy K was pissed. He was just like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Hey, man," because he wasn't DJing, because he didn't get invited to DJ. He was pissed. Speedy K was angry. I'm like, "Yo," and Shwani was like, "Hey, man, you should have him on the show." I was like, "Dude, I've called you a bunch of times. You know, a bunch of people always try to hook you up and, you know, try to have you on the show." And I was like, "Dude, come on down. Let's talk about it." And then he's just like, yeah. And he just keeps looking at the DJ, and, you know, Shwani was like, "Yeah, he's pissed right now." I'm like, "Oh, okay, dude." I don't want no drama. I don't want no problems, man. But yeah, I would love to have Speedy K, man. That would be fun. Like, you know, I hear a lot of stories about the guy.
And Sammy also said that that Power Tools was commercialized, and yeah, I believe so. I believe that toward the halfway point, I want to say, let's just say like 95 on, definitely. I would think the early years of, like, the first 2 or 3 years of Power Tools, I want to say it wasn't commercial. It got commercialized, you know, 94, 95, 96, and by that time, definitely. Okay. But because I do remember when I first started listening to Power Tools, the reason why I was attracted to the show is because they were playing some underground music. You know, I mean, I still have tapes. I have tapes of Power Tools with Taylor. Oh my gosh, dude, fucking Taylor, man, I'm just an amazing DJ. You know, that guy just blew my mind. The tracks, it wasn't, it's hard to say it was house because he had his own sound. You know, it wasn't hard, it wasn't trance, but it wasn't even what Doc was playing. It wasn't what Mark was playing. It was just badass, you know. And there was a lot of DJs that played that sound, that style, and that's what attracted me to Power Tools. You know, even Richard wasn't playing the commercial stuff that he's known to play here in LA. Again, this is like the first year or two of Power Tools. That's what attracted me to the show. If I were to listen to the show, if my first introduction to Power Tools was in '96, yeah, chances are I would turn it off. You know what I mean? If I were just to happen to catch that wrong DJ, because Power Tools, even if it was commercialized, it wasn't one particular sound, you know. And I know, and Jerry could go into detail with this, because, and I don't want to speak for Jerry, but the reason why Jerry was no longer with Power Tools is because when Power Tools first started, Jerry's vision aligned with the vision of Richard. But as the years go on, the vision that Jerry had no longer was aligned with Richard. Richard wanted the commercial stuff. He wanted to be Kiss FM. Jerry didn't. Okay. And I don't want to say no more. Hit up Jerry.
No,
talk to him.
No, I'm gonna have Jerry, because now, like, as we turn this book, bro, like, you keep opening more and more pages. Like, for us, 95, for me personally, 95 was when I got introduced to this scene, right? I mean, I'm fresh out of junior high, I'm going into high school, and this is the sound that, you know, that I came in through my high school years. So 1995 was what I was listening to. 96, 97, 98, 99, all those years, all the way to 2003, and then I was like done. But that was like my introduction to the scene. So for me, is like, okay, I only got the commercialized sound of Power Tools, because that's when I started listening to Power Tools. And mind you, it was all tapes, so it could be months, almost maybe a year tops, where I would make it back to Cali, and I was like, hey, here's your 5 tapes that I made for you, here you go. And I'm listening to stuff that is old as fuck, you know what I mean? But that was just our introduction when we were trying to dive in more into the scene. You know, for us, the must-have CDs was Bad Boy Bill, Irene, and Vision. And when Vision and Bad Boy Bill did that House Connect or whatever, when they were both of them together, was monster here in Vegas. Well, I mean, these guys were coming every other month to DJ here in Vegas because of that CD. So, you know, obviously you guys, like I always say, you guys are in the we call it Mecca, you know what I mean? Because that's where you guys are, you know, creating that scene, creating that East Side scene that we were listening to here in Vegas. So.
Yeah, somebody said that Sandra Collins and DJ Taylor, they have their own sound. And yeah, I mean, Sandra Collins, the first time I heard her, I was like, because during that time, I was still learning my craft and I was absorbing as much as I want, you know what I mean? So when I first heard Sandra, I'm standing right next to the DJ booth. You know, the turntable, right? I'm like 2 feet away. And I'm just, every record she was playing, I was just like, where do you get this shit? You know what I mean? Where do you get these records? where? You know, and then Taylor, the same thing. Taylor just had these records that was like, wow, you know. And oddly enough, they were Sandra Collins and Taylor. They were boyfriend and girlfriend for a long, long time. I don't know. I don't know if they're still together or not. I highly doubt it. But yeah, they were an item for many, many years. Taylor, how Taylor became Taylor. Taylor started off, he was the light guy. He was the light guy at a club called Fantasia, not in Point of Hills, but inside the Bonaventure Hotel.
Mm.
He was the guy that did the lights, okay? And he developed the DJ skill from there.
Mm.
And so he came out of that. But yeah, Taylor is definitely... He's definitely one of LA's, at least for now, at least today, definitely an unsung hero. I mean, in the 90s, he was the man. He still DJs, not as much, but he's one of those DJs that he should be at the very least at a Doc Martin level. Okay? Because Taylor, he's a fixture out here in LA, man. Taylor was just... You cannot find a rave flyer with his name not being on it.
Is he still DJ?
Oh yeah, he's still DJ, just not as much. Just not as much. And you know, and during the time when this is like early Taylor, when he had long ass hair. Okay, he used to have hair down to his back. You could, like I was saying, you could not find a flyer with his name not being on it. And for some reason, he just kind of like a lot of DJs, for whatever reason, they just, I don't want to say he fell off the face of the earth, because he didn't, but he just, for some reason, didn't blow up the way he should have.
Yeah.
You know, like with DJs like Doc. The second Doc started blowing up, he just didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know? A lot of DJs started blowing up, but then they kind of stopped and they kind of stayed where they're at, you know. But for some reason, Doc became Doc, and that's just the way it is. But Taylor, man, Taylor, the guy's just. I still, like I said, I think I'm gonna play one of those Power Tools tapes. Once we're done, I'm gonna play one of those Taylor Power Tools tapes, because he was just phenomenal, man. Him and Sandra Collins is just amazing, just amazing DJs.
I mean, these are people that, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know, right? Like I said, I like what I'm doing because I'm genuinely learning as we do this show, as we do.
I gotta stop you.
Yeah.
Because Rick mentioned Aldo Bender, and that's another LA fixture. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he passed away a couple years ago.
Oh.
I believe it was Aldo Bender that passed away a few years ago, and man, that hit hard. That really hit hard when I found out. And Kimberly also mentioned, another one, Barry Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
That's another DJ that in the early 90s was just a staple here in LA. You could not pick up a house flyer with his name not being on it. Chris Flores, another one, you know. But as the years go on, life happens. And
it's
a
hard life, man.
Yeah. Thank goodness we have Doc to light the torch for LA all over the world. You know what I mean?
For the West Side. Don't be talking for the East Side, bro. Don't be talking for the East Side, bro. Just for the West Side.
And who can forget Don Sucio, the sluttiest Sucio DJ. Steve Loria, that's my negative Steve Loria. That's another one. See, to mention, here's the thing. There was a time, a good 3-4 years, again, in the early years, a good 3-4 years, it was Doc and Steve, over every single flyer. If Steve was playing, Doc was there. If Doc was playing, Steve was there. It was almost like Sasha and Digweed.
Okay.
You know, they were like the Sasha and Digweed of LA. Doc and Steve. And for whatever reason, it just became Doc. You know what I mean? but hey, it happens. But yeah, those are DJs that should, like I said, man, should be at the very least at a Marcus Wyatt, Doc level. Barry Weaver, Taylor, Steve Loria, Chris Flores, even David Alvarado. Okay, David Alvarado, even though he played all over the world, he should be. He's one of those DJs that should be at the level of a Doc Martin, you know, representing LA. But you know, yeah, it's just there's just a lot of DJs like Aldo Bender. There was another one, Markham X. That's another DJ. Like in the early '90s, you could not find a flyer with his name not on it. But yeah, they just disappeared.
No, they just got married. They just got married. I mean, dude, like
RAW, that's another one. Thanks, Jeff. That's right. That's right. RAW.
Jeff knows his shit, bro.
Even though he wasn't a house guy, he's a drum and bass jungle DJ. But yeah, I mean, that's another DJ that RAW should be playing all over the world because his reputation, his skill level, his reputation, his staple, what he did here in LA, should have carried him all the way to today, you know. But again, I don't know their life experiences outside of DJing. I don't know. I don't know, you know. But for some reason, those DJs are not at a certain level. But it is what it is. And
you know what, Oscar the Grouch, you know, touching on this, man. I mean, maybe we should make a list and try to find these DJs and put them on the show. I would love to just chop it up and learn about it. And since I just found out today that our fan base is East Side. Let's cater to the East Side, bro. And I mean, I would love to get Doc. I would love to get, you know, Glad. I would like to get any Dan. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Get them out here and chop it up here on sessions just to get like their perspective and ask that question. Where is what happened in the division? Where did it go? East Side, West Side? But also get a chance for me, myself personally, to learn about history of what created our party scene, you know? I would love to see that.
Yeah. And I've asked this question to myself. Obviously, I'm very curious, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I'm pretty sure the answer is no. But then again, how would I know? But are party crews still a thing?
Nah.
I mean, if it is, I'm pretty sure it's not to the extent the way it was in the '90s. But are party crews still a thing? You know, and I'm pretty sure it's not.
No.
But again, if it was, how would I know? You know what I mean?
I mean, we're dealing here in Vegas. I'm just gonna speak for Vegas. Like what we're dealing with right now is groups of, we call them crews because that's what they are. It's just a group of guys getting together. Yeah, it's a party scene, a party group, but they don't call themselves party crews. It's just there's a couple of DJs, or maybe there's like 3 or 4 people that want to throw an event. They got the love for, you know, right now we're talking to a group about doing a hardcore drum and bass kind of mix with house music in one room and then them doing their shit on the other. But it's just like a couple, like 2 couples, maybe husband and wife that love the music and they're putting events together. You know what I mean? But it's yes, in a sense, it is party crews, but not to the extent of like what we were doing, you know, back in the '90s. I don't think that's, you know, even gangbanging now is different. You know, I see it here in Vegas a lot. Back then, you could tell who a cholo was. You could tell who a banger was, and now they're coming back in style. It's style more than what it was before. But you know, in Vegas, there is no cliques or stuff like that how it was before. There's crews running around doing stuff, but not like, oh, you can't go through this area because it's so and so gang affiliated area that's controlled by this gang or that. Now it's just crews, you know. Let me see here because I got some questions coming in. Questions. West Side and OC white Asians listen to trance, and East Side listen to hard house.
Yeah,
Do
pretty much.
you think? Do you think the party crews made the split? I guess East Side, West Side,
You know what?
and
Did the party crews make the split? Could be. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't
I
tell
could
you.
I could see it happening, bro. I
I
mean,
mean,
us Latinos, we like to, bro. We're desmadrosos, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I could see white people being like, "Oh my god, we don't need these so and so party crews coming into our parties." You know what I mean? Like, I can see that happening. We rowdy, man. I mean, we did it here in Vegas when the transition, because Vegas is more of a transition state than what you guys were dealing with in LA. For us, it was hard house and house music, and then late 90s, early 2000s, trance started coming in. And in Vegas, trance was predominantly white, and hard house music was predominantly Hispanic. So I remember when those raves started happening, where it was like they're gonna have one room that's house music, hard house, and then and K rock. That's what we're listening to. K rock, hard house music was our shit. But then the other room you have trance, happy hardcore, drum and bass, and you're getting these two groups kind of mixed up, and you see the trance people are white guys and tank tops, and white girls with the candy and dressing in crazy colors. And then you see the house, and it's like nothing but rebels, leather jackets, 501 jeans, clean cut, smelling like CK1, and cool waters, and what I mean. It was a totally different like clash between each other when these raves were happening in Vegas, which kind of changed a lot of the trajectory of house music in Vegas, to where it just kind of died out and trance took over, and the rest is history. So I can see the difference. That could
yeah.
be.
I mean, yeah. I look. I know that the party cruise was definitely a Latino thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
we like to be in
definitely
gangs, bro.
a Latino thing. Um, so could be. I could
I
be.
can see it.
It could.
I
It
I
could
could see it.
very well be. I can't say. I can't say for sure, and I don't think nobody could really say for sure. I mean, they could probably pinpoint different time frames throughout the scene, but I think it's going to be really hard to say this right here on this day, or this incident, or this song, or this little thing that happened is what, it's going to be hard. I think they could pinpoint several things throughout a span of certain years, but to pinpoint to one specific thing, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm curious, but I would definitely would like to know, because, like I told you, it was all one, and next thing I knew, two completely different worlds.
So, I mean, like, I got a chance to talk to Mondo, and we
Mondo
chopped it up about that, and
from Latin Underground.
no, Mondo Nemesis.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Mondo Nemesis, and got a chance to talk to him a while back, and he was telling me how he had just started. Right, he was like, starting off with the disco, bringing it in the '80s and stuff like that, and then obviously going from disco to house music, but never hear the difference between the scenes in Southern Cal. I like where this show went, man. I really like where the show is going, man. The craziness of of uh of from the greatest house song to like what the fuck happened. I love it.
Well, because it all tied in. It all
Yeah, of
tied in
course.
because we were talking about these house tracks,
Uh-huh.
these people that gave the list. They're coming from a specific
Yes.
scene,
Hmm.
and out here in LA, that scene is the West Side.
Yeah.
And the reason why these people don't know these songs is because they're from the East Side, you know. And so that's how it took. That's how we got into the whole West Side East Side thing. Um, but yeah, but that's pretty much it. And unless people have other questions or whatnot.
Oh, wait, hold on. We
That's
got
pretty
some right
much
here.
it, man.
Let's
That's
see.
pretty much it. This is not the DJ Suave list. These are people that were asked from all over the world to turn in their list, and the songs that came up the most, those are the ones that they grabbed. And it just turned out that it was Larry Heard's "Can You Feel It," Pepe Braddock's "Deep Burnt," and Shay Damier's "Close," and there was another one. The ones that really came up the most. I do know that when I see a lot of DJs being asked that question, outside of that one time that these two magazines came together to ask the question, a lot of people say, Larry Heard's "Can You Feel It" is one of.
Well, I mean,
and the story with that, and if you listen to that song, if you listen to that track, okay, you listen to that track, "Can You Feel It" from Larry Heard, and you listen to it, and then you hear the story on when he made that track. Oh, does it make perfect sense?
Yeah.
Because he made that track on a stormy, rainy day. He came in, he went to his house. It was raining all day. And you know when it's raining all day, people are in a certain mood, and the mood that he felt, because it was raining and stormy, that just transcended in that track that he made. And when you hear that track and you know that story, man, it makes perfect sense.
What's that movie called where they talking about the beginning of house music and they're interviewing all the DJs and all that stuff? It's a
movie?
Yeah, it's like old. It's a documentary, old 90s documentary. Yeah, fuck, I forgot the name. I was actually watching it the other day, and they're talking about that song. They're talking about just the beginning of house music, like how Knuckles made it to Chicago. It was supposed to be his other friend, and he was in New York at the garage, and vice versa, and it just took it from there, and the beginning of house music, and when these guys Saunders and Knuckles and all them make it to Europe, and they're like, holy shit, like everybody's going crazy when they get there. Where it started, I think it's called, what I mean, but it's a good old, I think it's on Hulu. I think I saw it on Hulu. And
but when touching on what you just said, a lot of people, when house music started in the early days, we're talking this, and this is still in the 80s. So when Chicago was making all this house music, okay, they didn't know.
Yes, they didn't know.
They didn't know that these records were going and being sold over in the UK. They had no idea. So when this music was being played all over the UK, and it got back to the US, people in the US thought this house music originated out in the UK by all these white dudes. They had no clue it was being made in their own backyard. So when these guys from Chicago's were getting asked to go to the UK to go play, they had no idea that their music was already being played 2 years before. They had no idea that Marshall Jefferson's track was number one. They had no idea that Adonis's track was number one. They had no idea that Joe Smooth's record was being played on Radio 1 on rotation. No clue. So they were shocked, like, why are we being asked to go to Europe? And their number one question, do white people like house music? That's what they asked themselves. Like, what's going on? So when they got to Europe, they were treated like rock stars. They had no, and when they found out, they were pissed, number one. And they were also happy because but when they came back back to Chicago, they're like, dude, where's our money? You're selling our music, and they had no idea, not a single clue. You know, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, but that's what happened. They had no clue.
I wanna answer this question to Sammy. He's been asking real quick. So there's two stories to how house music was named. They were touched in this movie, and when I find the name of the movie, I'm gonna post it up so you guys could check it out. But okay, there's two stories.
Movie or documentary?
The documentary. My bad. The documentary. Okay. Now there's those balloons flying everywhere.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know, man. It's probably a trick and shit this shit does. Anyways,
there's certain balloons.
Yeah, bro. They're like, hey, dude, get off. You're done. There's two stories. Number one is Knuckles is from, you know, that the Godfather house music where he played was called The Warehouse, and people were looking for the music that he played, and they call it the warehouse music, which shortened it down to house music. The other story that I heard was that at the beginning and the birth of house music, they were making this music in the basements of their house. They were producing, yeah, so they were making the music, they were producing the music, putting it on a vinyl. These guys were doing everything and then pushing it out, you know, out on the streets, on mixtapes, in the back of people's cars, whatever. And they called it house music because the music was being made in somebody's house. Yeah. So those are the two stories that I've heard. Each and or they go back at each other, but those are the two stories that I've heard.
And here's my take on that. Because before house music was being made in people's houses, they were already calling what Frankie was playing at the warehouse house music. Mm-hmm. So it can't be. How could they say it was called house music when we were making house music at our house, when before they were making house music, it was already being called house music? The disco, remember we talked about this? Yes. The disco that Frankie was playing at the warehouse, that's what they were calling house music.
Yes, disco. Exactly. Side B disco was the original house music. That's why they call it Disco's Revenge.
Right.
Is house music, right? So that's the thing.
So when they say, so the people that are saying it's called house music because we were making it at their house, that just doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me because it was already being called house before they were making house. You understand what I'm saying?
There was a music, yeah, the music.
But I heard that story too.
Yeah, I've heard both stories, and I know Sammy had asked. Those are the two stories that go around that I've heard. You know, just like DJ Suave's Best 100 house music is just everybody kind of put in their ideas and said, okay, this is why they call it house music. You know what I mean? And to me, a lot of people do the same thing. House opened the doors for everything else with techno and gabber and happy hardcore and all that stuff. All comes down to the fucking birth of house music. That's where it's from. The Disco's Revenge.
Steven said it's called What We Started, which that rings a bell. I think I've seen that.
That's that movie, right? I mean the documentary.
The documentary. I think that's what they're talking about. And Kimberly also said, what did she say? I don't know if she's saying that's the one that you saw, or she's just throwing another documentary out there. But she's saying there's one called Unconsciousness.
Not that one.
Therapy.
I would remember that.
Unconsciousness Therapy: The History of House Music. That one sounds interesting. I got to check that out.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
But the one that Christopher mentioned, I've heard that before.
Yeah, DM me the names of these house music movies, man. I would love to do some stuff on it and put my take on it, because I'm like I said, I'm just soaking all this information, and I love history. I love it, and especially on something that I love so much, I'm all about it. You know what I mean? So I love it. Ron Hardy is Godfather house music, bro. Yeah, I always heard the first, who is it? Ron Hardy who did the first official house track?
No. The first official house track. No, again, the official, unofficial. because again, it's not cemented, written in stone.
Yes.
But he's just credited for unofficially the first house record. That's Jesse Saunders.
Jesse Saunders, yes.
It's called On and On.
On and On. Yep, you're right. Yep. Pump up the volume. That's it. Pump up the volume. That's the one I watched.
Oh, that's the one you watched?
Pump up the volume documentary. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
That was the first one. That was from 2000. That's 25 years old.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is when that one came out. Oh, everybody was losing their minds. You know, when that came out, I saw it. It's a good documentary.
Yeah, it's really good.
But the thing with that documentary, it's not detailed. It just touches a little bit of this, then it goes into the next thing, a little bit of that, and then it goes into the next thing, a little bit of this, and then, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the story of house music till
in the whole
till the year 2000.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There are other documentaries that are an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours long that specifically stay in one city or in one time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the full detail. Maestro is another one, which is basically the documentary of the Paradise Garage and Larry Levan.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good one too. There's another one called Can You Feel It? It's a 3-part. That's also basically the way I see that one, Can You Feel It? It's basically pump up the volume, but update it.
Okay.
But into more detail. Okay. Then, the one that Christopher mentioned, where we started, that one kind of stays focused on one lane. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of documentaries out there that are very detailed. But Pump Up the Volume is very, very famous because it's the first one of its kind like that. The one that came after Pump Up the Volume was called Modulation. Okay, that one's really hard to find. But after those two, there's documentaries all over from all kinds. There, as a matter of fact, speaking of documentaries, there one just came out like last week. The famous DJ Garth from the Wicked Crew up in San Francisco, he came out with a documentary. I forgot what it's called, but anyway, it's out on Hulu, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Martin's in it, DJ Dan's in it. It talks about basically the underground scene up in San Francisco,
Which I hear it's popping right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are telling me that San Fran is coming back with the vengeance in the house scene again. There's a few DJs that have been up there and came back there.
Kimberly, I guess me and Kimberly, we linked up mentally. Yes, the one I just mentioned about San Francisco, DJ Garth. Yeah, it's called. She just posted it. What is it? It's called Between the Beats.
Between the Beats. I'm gonna watch that right now.
Between the Beats.
I'll watch that.
Yeah, Between the Beats. And the crazy thing about it is they had a release party at Academy, and Garth played, and it was all vinyl because Garth only plays vinyl. And it was a sold out night.
Nice.
Sold out night at Academy. Doc's in it, DJ Dan's in it. All kinds of DJs are in it, and basically they talk about the San Francisco underground scene.
Between the Beats. Between the
Beats. That's right.
On Apple TV. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Hell yeah.
Yes. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, it's Between the Beats.
Yeah. When did
I haven't seen it yet. I gotta check it out.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, dude. Do you know when Doc moved to LA from San Francisco?
It was in the late 80s. The late 80s. He moved to San Diego. He lives in San Diego now.
Mm-hmm.
He moved to San Diego a few years ago, I believe. But yeah, he's out in
Oceanside. Yeah.
Oceanside.
Yeah, I gotta get on him, bro. Hit him up, man. Fucking bring him on down, man. I'd love to. He's always in Vegas. He knows his promoter here. Edgar
he did
Reyes,
it
and he always,
at the Terrace for New Year's Eve.
yeah, no, he always comes to Vegas, dude. He's always in Vegas, always DJing in Vegas. But like I said, the people here in Vegas, I mean, if you guys are in the Vegas area tomorrow, we're going to be hosting the Households, Ninja Karaoke in the Arts District in Vegas. Got to do the drop real quick. And what we do is we do a 30-minute per DJ open decks house music only. Come on down, check it out. It's a cool opportunity to see a bunch of upcoming DJs and old school DJs as well. Man, that was like fuck, dude. I feel like a professional fucking podcast now, dropping fucking commercials and shit. Even came out nice and shit. All right. Because Steven Chris is gonna be in Vegas tomorrow, so come on down 8 to 12. Bring your USB or records. We have it all. Or if you want to bring your laptop, we'll plug you into our board and you could do a Serato. But we got vinyl and we got the USBs ready for you.
And before I go, just want to let everybody know that my 2004 year-end mix is out. If you guys are on my Facebook, I'm going to be posting it all week. It's on my page. If you're not, if you want to check it out, DM me. Okay, just DM me on Instagram, and I'll send you the SoundCloud link. It's about 2.5 hours of tech house. Starts off fairly deep, and it kind of builds up from there. So yeah, just want to share that out there. Yeah, my year-end mix is already out.
Well, when you make the little promo on Instagram, tag us as a collaborator or whatever, and I'll love to fucking share that shit all over the place, bro. Get you guys going, man.
Okay, what is Steve saying? You mean 2024? About 2000?
Steve's coming to Vegas. He's asking you to come down. He'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want cake in my face. Fuck that.
We don't throw cake. Hey, over here we try to keep it as chill as possible, bro.
No, because the reason why Steve is going to Vegas because he's somehow involved with promoting wherever Stevie Aoki's playing.
Oh, really?
That's why he's going to Vegas.
Yeah.
So
like, I don't want cake in my face. Well, you probably be in the back, bro, chilling over there with fucking the DJs behind the fucking decks, man.
Hold on.
Oh, he's with Aoki on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. See, exactly. I don't want no cake in my face,
bro. Vegas is full of cool stuff. You don't need just cake in your face, brother. Housewise, it's a little different story, bro. Housewise is a little different story. Like house music, we're struggling with that over here, but we keep pushing, man. Try to make something happen with it here, bro. But you know. That's just Vegas for you. So if you guys are in Vegas or coming to Vegas, come back tomorrow. No cover charge, 21 and over. That's it.
You guys are doing. You guys, are you guys getting momentum on that thing?
No, dude. I'm gonna be transparent. Dude, I try to be as transparent as possible here in Vegas for you guys always, right? No fucking extra pudding, nothing, man. It's been a struggle, bro. It's been a struggle because I don't know if it's. I promote the shit out of it, you know, and we use the lines of communication that we have now to promote. I even went old school to where I printed like 300 flyers and I hit up cars in events and I was putting the flyer in people's cars. Me personally was out there putting the flyers in people's cars. And I go on Instagram and I'll do the flyer and I'll freaking DM 300-400 people, you know. I mean, it's just not something that Vegas might want. I don't know. I mean, there's so much things happening in Vegas every day that I understand people much rather go see Los Wookiees or you know what I'm saying, or go see, you know, NSYNC or, you know, Bruno Mars than come and, you know, hang out at a because the way I try to do my event is not even an event, man. I try to make it as chill as possible. Maybe give you that little underground old school style to it, where you know you just walk in. There is a DJ playing, and every day we have, you know, about 6 DJs every day. They just come by and throw a 30-minute set. It's from 8 to 12 and you just kick it. You know what I mean? So we get a lot of DJs, not a lot of party goers. I feel like people here in Vegas are waiting for that event. Like we were talking about, like, you know, EDC or something to come out and do stuff. But for us, or maybe they just don't like me, period. But you know, we do it every other Thursday here at Ninja Karaoke, and in March it's gonna be a year. And it's not been as prolific as I would want it to be, but it is what it is. We keep pushing, man. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out.
Rick, I'm with Rick. I'll go to Vegas if Steve Aoki's sister goes. Steve Aoki's sister. Her name is Devin.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
the actress, right?
Yeah, she's kind of like a little. What is it? What do they call it?
She's
a
a-
B-list actress.
Yeah, she came out in that movie.
She's done a handful of movies. She's done a handful of movies. But she's
Fast,
kind of a cutie.
Too Furious.
Yeah, she was in that one.
Yeah, yeah.
She was in that one. Yeah,
That's
but
when I
she's
remember
kind
her.
of cute. Yeah, she's a little hottie.
Yeah, she could throw a
Yeah.
kick in my face.
Yeah, she
That's
could
what
throw a
Suave
kick in
is
my
saying. He's
face.
like, she could throw a kick
Absolutely.
in my face all day.
She could definitely. I could chop suey her ass whenever she wants.
Suki, yes, Suki from
Definitely.
Too Fast. Yeah, she'll be there. Look at his page. It's her birthday. Oh, there you go, Suave. There you
Rick,
go,
let's
Suave.
go,
Suave.
Let's go. I am down to kick it with Devin.
Suave has
I
his
am
backpack
down.
that's labeled Vegas. He has a backpack already labeled Vegas. Like, all right, go to San Diego and grab this bag. Oh, this is the Vegas bag. Let's go.
Oh shit. Oh fucking A. Yeah. But anyway, all right, guys. That's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. Just want to, again, this is not my list, so don't get mad at me. All right, don't get mad at me. Just don't even get mad at yourselves. Just kind of like, you know, be like, fuck. I'm just too bad you guys were not aware of what's happening.
Just
in your
blame
own
the
backyard.
whites again. Just blame the whites
Just
again.
blame-
The whites
the damn
once again
gringos.
fucked you. Those limey bastards just got you.
Yes. Damn bastards. Damn
They
fucking
picked-
bastards.
Yeah, dude, they knew better, bro. They're like, oh, we're gonna go and ask people in the east side of LA about fucking music. Fuck, they're gonna talk about freestyle and shit. Nah, we get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So anyway, so DM me if you guys want the link for my SoundCloud to check out my 2024 year-end mix. And so yeah. And again, this whole thing, if you guys didn't catch the whole thing or only the beginning or whatever, it'll be archived on Rebel Day 702
Check it out.
on the page.
Yep.
And I'm also going to upload it on YouTube. It'll be on YouTube. And
You gotta teach me how to do that. I gotta go to
it's
YouTube,
a
bro.
website that you could just convert it into a file.
Yeah, I
And
need to
then you
move.
could-
I don't want to move sessions because everybody's so used to being on here. But
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube's the way to go, man. You know, for stuff like what we're doing here, YouTube's the way to go, and it's time. I mean, I do my lives when I do. I should plug it in. Rebel Day 702 on YouTube. Every time we do our first and third Thursdays, it's live on YouTube. We do it live on YouTube every Thursday from 9 to 12, and then they're just there. So check it out. So you guys can see all these kinds of different DJs coming out and DJing. I got this one cat from Ireland. Bro, that guy could throw down some fucking hard house. And he's from Ireland. Like, he listens to hard house in Ireland. I'm like, what the really? He's like, bro, and like, it's that West Coast, East Side, hard house, Ireland style. Fucking shit, man. So check it out. What's up?
He listens to it still to this day.
He DJs it. Dude, short story, super cool guy. Shows up one day, we're DJing, we're doing a street DJ. We're out in the streets here in Vegas. He rolls up and he's like, hey, man, I've been following you guys for a minute. I'm from Ireland. I just made it to the States a couple years ago, whatever. I've been following you guys. I would love to come and DJ. I was like, bro, bring your USB or your records, whatever. Brings his USB. We have them at Ninja Karaoke at the households. And he gets down, and I'm just looking at this motherfucker like, you're playing fucking hard house and fucking good at it. What the fuck? Who the fuck? I would have never thought fucking straight from Ireland, like from the fucking hills, like throwing down some shit, dude. I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm ignorant bastard, bro. Because like it's like, you know,
he's a goat herder from Ireland.
bro, he's a fucking Highlander. I don't know, bro. Fucking the sword and shit, but that dude gets down, bro. Gets down, and he can drink, of course. So you know what I mean. So people like that, we get the opportunity that show up. You know, I wish I had a little bit more of a platform to showcase all these DJs because they are older. They're our age, still doing it and still bringing it. But what throws me off is that, you know, once again, we live in our own little bubble and you think this is the only thing that's happening. Here comes this guy from clear across the pond from the other side of the world to come and play the same music you're playing, and he likes it, you know? It's like, what the that's crazy. That's cool. I love that shit. Yeah. But all right, brother. I appreciate it very much. Thank you everybody for joining us today, hanging out with us. I know we've talked about the greatest house songs of all time, but we every time me and Suave are on the mic, man, it's a whole different world, man. We just go off, and it's a good fucking story for a good 3-4 hours, man. I love it.
Yeah, we always have, even if the subject matter is pretty simple to the point, we always end up branching out to other shit.
Yeah. Love them, man. Everybody was
That's
dropping
still relatable to the topic.
Of course.
But, you know, it was, you know, branch out.
Fuck yeah, shit. Man. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. If you guys ain't following DJ Suave, go follow DJ Suave and check us out. This is Grease the Godfather Rebel Day 702. Laters.
All right.